What's up, guys, and welcome to the Infinity Flux Letters page. I am Matt.
I'm Andy.
This is our live show that we do every other Wednesday where we talk to you guys live about whatever we want to talk about. You can interact with us. Normally, we record a YouTube video and we'll get some comments, but we can't respond to them, right? And we want to be able to talk to you guys as much as possible. So this is our opportunity to do that.
I always like that you said it's like you're hanging out at a comic book store, you're just leaning on the counter, and someone comes in and says, "Hey, did you see that Fantastic Four trailer?"
What?
And all that, then that's the next 3 hours of your life.
Oh, yeah. This is the virtual version of your hanging out at your comic book shop on New Comic Book Day, because we do these on New Comic Book Day like today. So we wanted to start off today by talking about, the new teaser trailer for Fantastic Four.
And you just wore that just because.
Total coincidence. This was, I didn't plan this or anything. I'm not that big of a nerd, right? But before we sorry, I've got it pulled up here and we can maybe watch it together and go through it. But before we do that, what do you think about it?
I really liked it.
Yeah.
I know, shocking.
Right? Oh, are we back? Yes. Sorry, we've apparently got a bad connection back here. The minute I clicked create a banner, the screen went black, and I thought that I done something wrong.
You did it.
Are we still good? Sorry, guys. Let us know if you're there. Let us know if our little signal. There we go. Now it's maybe back to full. There we go. Okay. Yes. All right. We're back on you. Sorry about that, guys. That was super weird. We got a bad connection. All right. Let me create this. So anyway, you were saying about the Fantastic Four trailer. You liked it.
Yeah. And, it's been a full day at work here at the comic book store as people have come in and out. And it seems like the general consensus is everyone really liked it.
Oh, yeah. I've heard a few things about, the CGI looks this or that or the other thing, but I mean, I think the biggest thing for me is the aesthetic, though. I mean, everybody looks great, but it's the aesthetic for me, like the retro future, 1960s, all that stuff. And the fact that we didn't see too much.
Mm-hmm.
I'm so glad that we only saw just a little bit. Like I've said it a few minutes ago, I'm just glad that, like, I would be fine with no more trailers. That's all we get before the movie comes out on July 25th.
But yeah, the tone of it, not just the look of it, but like I know going into they're really trying to capitalize like this is a family. The Fantastic Four is not just one character, it is a team, but not even a team like the Avengers. It's like they're closer than that.
Yeah.
And I felt this teaser trailer really brought that home when he talks about like having dinner together and all of that, which I feel like previous Fantastic Four iterations that they've talked about didn't quite have that unity that I feel like they're going for with this, which is great.
Yeah, in it's blasphemy, I guess, to talk about the 2015 movie because I thought that was awful, but that definitely did not. There was no family aspect in that whatsoever.
So I still haven't seen that, but from what I hear, like they're not all together till like the last scene, basically the last, I don't know, fourth of the movie.
Well, they are together. They're together a pretty good bit because they meet each other at the Baxter Building. And they're together when they get their powers, which is much more in line with Ultimate Fantastic Four, how they get their powers than regular Fantastic Four. But then I don't even remember. There's a 1-year time jump, and all of a sudden Reed Richards has like gone off the grid, and the other three are still like training with the military.
Okay.
And Reed Richards is by himself, and then they get back together. But yeah, it was not good. But yeah, there is no. There's no family there at all,
I guess one of the other big things is Galactus in this that we've seen a little bit of. We saw a bit of Galactus in the not official like kind of test thing. We saw like his eyes looking through the building. It looks like at least for this one part, that's kind of the size they're going for. He's looking down on the Statue of Liberty, but he's not. They have versions of Galactus where he like holds a planet in his hand. We're not going that big. This is, comprehensible size.
Yeah.
But still probably the biggest thing we've seen
in
the MCU.
Well, yeah, I was always wondering too, like whenever he does show up, is he going to be as big as a Celestial like we saw in Eternals, like looming over the planet? I think maybe that's a little bit too big for Galactus. In his first appearance. What's up, KJ? How you doing, man? Good to see you. But yeah, like in his first appearance, like he was about as big as a building.
Yeah.
And that's, I even read, in fact, last night I read the Superman Fantastic Four comic. It's a comic all about this coming summer. And he wasn't super big in that. I mean, he eats planets, but he doesn't like chomp down on them. He
that's always kind of the misconception. He's got like ways and like tubes that stick in the planet and all weird stuff that he does.
I guess people think maybe like he takes a big bite out of the planet, so he needs to be huge.
Scotty Young for doing like a baby version of him holding like taking a big old bite out of a planet. But yeah, I think it's I'm really excited about seeing him, even from the back of his head that we saw. That looked really, really good. Yeah,
that just, there has been so many things said about, we've come so far from just being a cloud. A giant space cloud. And then, well, let's go ahead and let's go through the trailer and let me see how well this is going to work. Let's see. Let me make this big here.
Make that big, make us small.
Yeah, and there. Yeah, and let's do, I don't know how well, maybe I need to turn it down a little bit so that it doesn't echo since we're not using headphones.
Oh, yeah.
They need to.
Welcome to the Baxter Building.
We make a point to do family dinner every week. Sunday at 7 on the dot, no matter what. We're all here.
Now, what is cool is, that test footage or concept footage that we saw last year, like a lot of it was that. And I was like, oh, that's cool that they actually they didn't just film that just to film it. Like they actually incorporated it.
Because I think that's like when you see Galactus's eyes, he's looking through that big window.
Yeah.
Right there.
Oh, through that?
Yeah.
Oh.
Because it's like a really long.
Or maybe it's one of those ovals.
Yeah. Now, I did hear, and my early Fantastic Four is not great, but there's the Baxter Building, but they also had their other building that was, it seems like this is an amalgamation of the two.
I don't remember in the original if they had.
I don't know if it was the original, but they've had multiple buildings.
Yeah, there was a time in the 60s where they went. It was a whole like 3-part story where they went to go buy a house, and it was haunted, and
of course it was,
or they thought it was haunted, but it turns out there was a shaft that went down, and the Mole Man was down there, and that was a whole big thing. I don't think they started out with the Baxter Building, though. And it wasn't called the Baxter Building at the beginning, if I remember correctly. If you guys are watching and remember, let me know. I love, though, that this tells me right here that we're not going to have to go through an origin story again. They're already established.
Yeah.
It looks like they're very well loved. There's kids running around. We love the Fantastic Four and all that kind of stuff. But, I love seeing this right here. Like, that's perfect.
Yeah.
Because that doesn't look like a modern building, but it does look like a futuristic building in the 60s, so.
Yeah, kind of the furniture of the time and everything had those sleek lines.
Yeah, all right.
Herbie, how's that sauce coming? Yeah, I'll be the judge of that.
Okay, and then
so
obviously.
Much to say here.
I saw. So I love that we see Herbie like right off the bat, and his eyes are tape reels.
Yeah.
And then, of course, Ben Grimm.
Let's just talk about how this is the best looking Ben Grimm I think we could ever get.
Yeah.
This is the most comic accurate, maybe of any human character that we've had in the MCU. Thanos, pretty close to the look, but just the brow, the color, everything.
The brow is what sells it for me, because in I always thought in the 1994 Roger Corman movie he looked like a big lizard.
Yeah.
And then in the 2005 2007 movie He looked more like Fantastic Four #1 thing, where his face was all smooth. But and then in the 2015 movie, I thought that one was okay, except he was naked the whole time. But he
Yeah.
did look very rocky, and he was big, but he didn't have the brow either. That's Jack Kirby's drawing right
Yeah.
there. That's not #1 because he didn't have the big brow.
He actually
#1.
looked kind of like a big mud monster in
Yeah.
his original. Like his face wasn't that defined.
Yeah.
But this is your, from the modernization of Fantastic Four
Yeah.
forward.
Like that's Jack Kirby or maybe John Buscema
Yeah.
thing. The big brow, and he's got the eyes. The only thing, what do you think about his voice though?
That was my biggest stickler with this trailer, was when he started to talk. I mean, I think a couple people have said it, that expected maybe a deeper voice, and I didn't realize how much like the Michael Chiklis voice
Yeah.
was in my head.
Yeah.
But he had such a that's what the thing sounds like, that I expected, if you're made of rock, to have kind of this cavernous, bassy,
Gravelly.
Yeah. And it is a choice that they went for, to kind of go with the original direction, which is okay, and I think we'll get used to it.
Yeah.
Like we do with a lot of the stuff where you have a preconceived version in your head, and then you have to live with it for a little bit, and then it becomes normal. I do like when he puts his fingers in his mouth. It sounds like you're like rustling around little rocks and stuff.
Yeah.
That was pretty cool.
And Emerald Knight, Alex Ross.
Yeah.
Looks very Alex Ross as well.
There's a version of him that's kind of like the Art Adams, where the brow is really big. It like sticks off his head. I like this is like a concise version of it.
A couple people said that they do like the voice because it's more, it's kind of like he's still Ben Grimm but trapped in this rocky body.
Yeah.
So why would his voice change just because of that? Of course, I guess if he's all rock, maybe his vocal cords are rocky, so maybe that would
there's
change
multiple
it.
versions where there's times where his rocks have come off and he's got like gross like skin underneath. Or there's versions where you see his lungs, and they're lungs, but there's like rocks stuck to the outside of them. So I could see that maybe he does still have some sort of a human vocal system.
There was that one shot, the Fantastic Four road trip. That was like a body horror book where all of his rocks were flaking off, and it was just like grossness. Maybe we'll see that here. No, but but overall, those are just, and I guess my only other nitpick was, and we'll see it later, I thought maybe he'd be a little bit bigger, like height wise, because he's big and bulky, which I like, but I kind of thought that maybe he'd be a little bit taller than everybody. Like maybe they'd come up to his shoulders. Maybe they do. I don't know. That's just a tiny little nitpick. I'm not mad about it or anything. Brendan on TikTok says, I like the voice, kind of keeps him human, but I think we'll get used to it. Yeah, that's what you were saying too. I agree.
And I think too, hopefully we get like an Alicia Masters and stuff.
Oh, yeah.
And I would like for him to be able to express some emotion and not just be sounding like you're like rubbing two rocks together. He can have some levels to his voice this way.
This is true. The original thing wasn't that tall. You're right. You're exactly right. And maybe that's what they're going for. Like I said, that was just more an image that I had in my own head, not really based on anything else. In some books, he kind of towers over everybody. But you're right. In the original, he was about the same height as everybody else. So
he was wider.
Yeah, not necessarily taller. So you're right. And like I said, that was just maybe, I had that picture in my head, and when it wasn't that, I was like, oh, I thought maybe they do. And because in the 2015 movie, he was bigger than everybody, but like taller. But like I said, I'm not upset about it at all. I think it looks great. A few little, like the voice and things like that. It was a little bit. Oh, and somebody said like, oh, he doesn't have his New York accent, and maybe that could, maybe it sounds like he doesn't quite have the accent that I thought he would, but I don't care, man. It looks great, and I love.
There's some accent in there.
Yeah. What do you guys think they didn't show? Oh, why do you think they didn't show Reed's powers?
I think they mentioned that not all of the effects are to a place where they're ready to show. You saw Johnny. You see Ben. I think. The movie's they're still working on it, and I think maybe they want to save some stuff.
Yeah.
But also, they got finished what they wanted to get finished.
Yeah. I am totally fine with not seeing Reed Richards' powers if they're not like I'm totally okay with them taking as long as they need to get those right, because I don't know that I've ever, maybe the One Piece live action, that's a good, but like there's so many live action projects where a character stretches for whatever reason, and I don't think it's ever really looked all that great. So whatever they need to do, however much time, even if they need to do it all the way up until July, hey, we finally finished Reed's stretchy arms, like that's fine. I don't need to see it. Take all the time you need. All right, we'll keep going.
Okay. Okay. Is this guy good or what? I want to add a couple cloves of garlic. Not because it's not delicious. I just want to add a little bit of zip. Okay?
T-5.
Hold on, I do want to hear. I do want to go back just a pinch. Did I go back too far?
Baxter Building.
I went back all the
Family
way. Didn't I?
dinner.
Yep.
Dot no
How'd that happen?
Oh, you're not good at computers.
How's that
Nope.
sauce coming?
I love that they can't keep Evan Mossback out of the kitchen. No, he's
Is this guy good
on
or
chef.
what? I want to add a couple cloves of garlic.
He's on the bear.
Not because it's not delicious. I
What
just
did I
want to
say?
add a little bit of zip.
Yeah,
Chef.
the bear. Sorry, I mean the bear.
Chef is John Favreau's, isn't it?
T-5.
Darn it!
Man.
It keeps our connection's not super great back here, so it lags a little bit.
Okay?
Okay, so we were talking earlier, and I feel like, so to answer Brendan's question on TikTok, my theory is that when we see this scene in the movie, that we will see his left arm outstretched. I feel like that we don't see his arm here for a reason.
Why else would you also have a blackboard that's that long with
Yeah.
a character like him if he's not going to, move his head and his arm all the way around it?
Yeah, and Emerald Knight, I need to hear it's clobbering time. I do think that he will say that. Evan Moss-Backrack was on the Jimmy Kimmel show, and he was talking about that. And he asked him, Jimmy Kimmel asked, have you said it's clobbering time? And he's like, I may have, during the mocap and during the rehearsal, I may have thrown a couple out there. So I think we will see it. Maybe during that scene where he's running, maybe he goes, it's clobbering time, and starts running down the thing. I think that would be really cool. But yeah, I think we'll definitely hear that at some point. And I hope it is kind of more like, not just like, hey, it's clobbering time. Like, hey, it's clobbering. I want to hear a little bit of gravelly.
Hey guys, it's clobbering time.
Hey, did you guys know it's clobbering time? Fire Movie, hello everyone. What's up, Card Imperial and Comics? Interesting voice in the thing. Was expecting more bass. Yeah, I think maybe that caught everybody off guard, but I'm not mad about it at all. But yeah, so I think in this scene, when the movie's out, we will see his outstretched left arm right here. They just haven't added that in yet. And this is also too where I know you can't really see it, but
there's
it doesn't. We're not capturing the pointer, but yeah, just over his left shoulder, you can see where it looks like he's researching wormholes.
Yeah, wormholes, and it says like different universe or another universe, and entrance and exit.
Entry and exit, yeah.
This goes to my whole theory about what this movie is going to be, where I think Galactus will destroy this world and they'll have to escape into the main MCU universe. And he's researching I think I know a way that we can save ourselves. I also think that would give him some guilt that Reed Richards always has.
Yeah.
If he kind of abandoned ship of their own universe, as Galactus is doing it, because that would also explain why Galactus is in a first movie.
Yeah,
being how big he is.
I'm not sure. You don't think it'll be like a Secret Wars thing that squishes them all together? You think it'll happen in this movie where they travel to the main MCU?
Or this will link up with that. You'll see them go through the portal and they'll come out of the portal at that time.
Because I think, Doomsday comes first, right? So maybe the post-credit scene.
I think they will probably be in Doomsday.
Yeah, I think so, in some capacity. But just maybe, I just feel like the universes won't meet up until Secret Wars. Like maybe the heroes will, but Secret Wars will basically do a Crisis on Infinite Earths where...
The other thing I would think is somehow they're able to repel Galactus like they do. You don't beat Galactus, you just give him another
Right.
option. But then they'll have to figure out, like, they'll have to tell the main MCU universe, like, you know, oh, we've got to go because he's probably coming for them or something like that.
Yeah, because in that Superman Fantastic Four comic, it actually, at the beginning, it looks like he's responsible for the destruction of Krypton. But in that comic, Superman in the DC universe, they mentioned that it's in a separate universe from the Marvel, and they don't have any problem crossing universes, but Galactus just somehow just hopped universes. So you know, in that, it's like, oh, it's no big deal. I'll just go over here. So maybe it is something like that. All right, we'll keep going with
5. Before we went up the first time, you couldn't turn invisible. Ben wasn't a rock. The best pilot in the world right here.
Yeah. Best looking, he means.
I like this bit because this kind of reminds me of Fantastic Four 51, this monster, where he's really wrestling with being a monster, basically, you know. Although I thought in that one he was in a trench coat. The trench coat and hat, very Raphael from 1990 Ninja Turtles. Of course, he also wore that in the 2005 Fantastic Four.
Yeah, and he's worn it in the comics and everything too. What I think is also interesting is it looks like this is a world where the Fantastic Four are accepted. Like, you see the kids with, like, the Thing masks on and stuff. But personally, he's still grappling with this.
Yeah.
And also the blue eyes.
Yep. Ever-loving blue-eyed Thing.
Is a great touch.
Very getting an oil change at the moment, but glad to catch the crew. Well, glad that we could be with you while you're getting an oil change. Sometimes that takes a while, I know. So thank you for being here, hanging out.
Don't let them talk you into, you can change an air filter yourself.
Oh, I always do. They're like, hey, your air filter is changing. I'm like, yeah, go for it.
I mean, you can do it for cheaper.
Yeah, I know, you're right.
Depending if you have to remove a piece from your engine to get to the air filter. But usually you can just pop that thing right out.
Brendan on TikTok says, I have a theory that the incursion mentioned at the end of Doctor Strange 2 will be connected to this.
That's a thing that they haven't really mentioned too much of.
Yeah.
And the I heard, like, the theories about, like, the time war that was in Loki and all of that is connected with this.
There's so many, and this is why I typically don't do this kind of thing where I'm like, oh, it could be this or that, because I find it exhausting, you know, because nobody really knows. I get tired of it after a while.
And I think an issue with the MCU right now is there's a little too many hanging threads.
Yeah.
What I like about this is I don't feel like this will have that, because you know, the characters that are in this seem to be like, we are just dealing with Fantastic Four. It's not going to be like, and then somebody else comes in here or whatever. It's like, no. This feels like a pretty self-contained movie for the most part. It doesn't feel like a you know, Ant-Man 3 that's like, this is just the glue between two other things.
Yeah, that's the only reason this exists, is to link up. Yeah, this is, for sure this will be its own thing. We were talking, I wish that more MCU movies looked like this, with this aesthetic, you know, like reboot the MCU in the 60s, like with this aesthetic, the 60s aesthetic. Spider-Man in here would look really cool. So, I mean, I'm not saying that I think he's going to pop up, just saying it would look, everything else would look cool like this too.
There could be a moment where you see this universe's versions of other things and other people, but I'm so glad that's not a thing that I care about.
Yeah.
Because so often it's like, you go to see a Marvel movie to see something else other than the Marvel movie. It's like, no, I just want to see the Fantastic Four here.
I only want to see the Fantastic Four. I don't care about cameos or anything. I just want to see these guys, and so that's,
give us, you know, we'll see another character here in a second. I wouldn't mind if they do a here's some other adventures they've been on, like, you know, we see Mole Man, or we see some other classic Fantastic Four villains. Would be kind of cool.
Oh, I would love to see Mole Man. How have we, it's been however many years we haven't gotten Mole Man? Gosh, that would be okay. So actually I was gonna say something else, but we'll get to it.
And Johnny never caught fire.
So this part's cool too, because right here you can actually see on, I love how the lens flare, or he flames on and it lens flares, and it sort of makes the screen, the camera dirty, like there's an
Yeah.
actual window there. Like that looks so cool. Now it was, I think it's cool that like showing Human Torch, like they perfected that a good
Yeah.
while ago, right? I mean, even in 2005, it looked really good. So I mean, it still looks great here, but nothing really super special because I mean, it looks great, but it's not like the Thing finally looks like the Thing. Well, they've always done a good job with Johnny Storm for the
Yeah.
last 20 years. So just more great Johnny Storm, which I like. Whoops. My bad. I'm bad at this.
Ben has always been a rock. Johnny is Johnny.
I want to go back because somebody, speaking of theory crafting, hold on one second.
Johnny is.
Now, this this is not me saying this. I saw this. I'm not making a comment on anything at all. But somebody said that she looks pregnant there. And, Franklin Richards, maybe.
Well, that goes to the theory that the movie's called Fantastic Four First Steps.
Yeah.
That could allude to Franklin.
Thank you for hitting that like button, A-Dub. Appreciate you guys. Again, I think, I'm not saying yay or nay. It could just be a loose-fitting shirt.
How dare you?
She doesn't look big at all. It's just somebody else said that and, pointed at her belly. It's like, oh, she looks pregnant there. And
I think it's just a flowy shirt.
yeah, I do not have an opinion on that. Although it would be cool to eventually bring in.
I think that's
the
a thing
kids
that they haven't done.
Yeah.
Is bring in Franklin and Valeria and,
What if it's like Franklin is the one that, if he's the reason why everything
that would
gets
be awesome.
rebooted.
That would be so accurate.
Yeah, that's like, he goes all Heroes Reborn on us from
Yeah.
1996. That would be super cool. All right.
Johnny.
Hi.
And I am right here.
Her powers look great.
Yep.
It gives more of a bubble, which
Uh-huh.
I like the way the refracting is and the breaking up of light into a rainbow, all of that. Super, super cool.
Sorry, I was just checking over here real quick too. Okay. Yeah, no clue what she's doing here. I love the look of the costume though. That
Yeah.
looks so classic. I mean, that almost looks like the costumes from the 1994 Roger Corman movie.
Yeah, with a lot of white.
Yeah, a lot of white. And I love they just went for it. There's not too many lines or anything. They're not even like spandex or Kevlar or whatever it is they wear in all the Avengers movies. It just looks like, oh, we're just wearing like regular sweaters. Yeah, she looks great. I mean, I love Vanessa Kirby and I love Sue Storm. So everything about that casting.
I mean, she is the most powerful member of the Fantastic Four by far.
Yeah. Maybe
and-
a little bit too powerful. Like she's probably one of the most powerful members of the Marvel universe.
Yeah, I mean that she can create a bubble in your brain and
Yeah.
just kill you on the spot.
She
and
can just
so-
like create a bubble in your lungs or
Yeah.
in your windpipe or something.
and it went from she can just create force fields and turning invisible to like she can like make whole cities invisible and she can do giant light refraction to
Yeah.
make stuff disappear. And
I mean, currently in the current run, she's basically Green Lantern, which is to me is almost a little bit too much. Like there was one issue where they had to travel somewhere and it showed them riding 4 invisible horses. But instead of just putting them on like floating orbs, they looked like horses with saddles and manes and
Yeah.
tails. Like, really? Yeah, I mean, that's maybe for me, it's a little bit much, because it looks cool, but why my brain can't help but think, why go to all that detail when nobody can see it? I mean, sure, me, the reader, can see it, but I don't know. I mean,
because she can.
Yeah, I mean, she I think in one issue, she was like making machinery.
Yeah.
But it was out of invisibility. That I don't really
It probably
want.
looks like that. It probably looks like it's made out of a bubble. If you could see it. But I really hope that, we get multiple things with Fantastic Four because her character progression, I think, would be one of the most interesting, where she really is taking like a leadership role.
Yeah.
in multiple teams and stuff.
Yeah, and I hope it. she, she was written horribly in the 60s,
Oh, yeah.
And after she had Franklin, this Reed didn't. She was barely in the book for dozens of issues because Reed was like, "No, you need to stay at home," and
Yeah.
and eventually they got Agatha Harkness to watch over him, but Reed was pretty terrible to her through all the 60s. So, hopefully hopefully it's not like that. This trailer kind of feels like the Jetsons, yeah, which I'm fine with.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Because again, that's the Jetsons from the 60s and 70s, but set in the future, but set in the 60s version of the future. So yeah, I'm all for that for sure. And that goes back to the Rockefellers. That kind of feels like the Jetsons a little bit too. I love that kind of stuff. So as much of that as they want to put in here, I'm fine.
Here. Whatever life throws at us, we'll face it together.
Now I didn't remember this, but somebody did make mention that this is kind of reminiscent of Silver Surfer's first appearance when the Watcher made what was it again? He made a fire in the sky or something.
So kind of not to distract Galactus, but to kind of hide Earth.
Yeah.
I don't know if he was trying to make it look like a sun or whatever. The other thing, I haven't heard anybody say this, but that pattern that's running through there.
Yeah, there's something there. That's not
feels a lot like in the end of Spider-Man 3 and the cracks that happened in the multiverse and stuff. It has kind of those shaped lines.
Yeah.
I don't know. Is this the flight path of Silver Surfer? Is this, there's a lot of things this could be.
And somebody else said that it kind of looked like Silver Surfer's entrance in the Marvels, and they showed a good picture, but I can't seem to find it. Of course, when you search Silver Surfer, the Marvels, half of it is
just Marvel.
Half of it is the MCU stuff or movie stuff. The Marvels comic. I wish I could find that, but yeah, actually, I need to go back and look at that. But somebody did make mention that it kind of looks like how Silver Surfer first appeared in the Marvels. She talks about their powers in an optimistic way. Yeah, Sue will definitely be the glue. We see Reed talk about these powers as something negative. That's right, but Sue doesn't. Yeah, Ben's always been a rock. Of course, for Johnny, she's like, Johnny's always been Johnny. I guess a hothead. Yeah. But yeah, so there's something definitely going on right here that I can't wait to find out about. What's up, Jerry, on TikTok? How you doing, man? So I definitely can't wait to see what this is. It probably does have something to do with Silver Surfer. Maybe Silver Surfer is on there and they just digitally erased her or something like that. But yeah, I'm fine with not seeing too much. What are the chances that flies?
I mean, we saw it fly at Comic-Con.
That's right.
Yeah. They're going to have to retrofit that to fit Ben Grimm in there somehow. Maybe cut off the top or something. But I do think that's a super cool idea.
Yeah, I love that. I mean, that's exactly
and
what I want everything to look
the
like.
Box they fly around in sometimes. Yeah. But that's super cool. Also very kind of Jetsons.
Yeah. I wonder if that's real. Like, did they really make that? They really made the Batmobile, that kind of thing.
Did, from what I remember.
Yeah.
But yeah, very cool.
Love that. I just think the guy who plays the Thing and Pedro who plays Reed should have switched roles. Really? Evan Moss Backrack as Reed Richards and Pedro Pascal as the Thing. I don't know if I quite see that, but I welcome the opinion. I can't see it in my head though. Although that's a good point that I've said several times that I was a little bit worried that I wouldn't be able to see Reed Richards through Pedro Pascal because Pedro Pascal's everywhere, right? Everybody else looks fine, but I was worried I would see like Ben, Sue, Johnny, and Pedro Pascal, and that's your Fantastic Four. But after seeing this, I feel a little bit better about it. So I need a little. But the only thing is, like, he looks exactly the same. Like, maybe if they'd shaved his mustache or something, or given him a full beard instead, but he just kind of kept the same look that he has in everything else that he's been in. But I love him as an actor, so I think he'll do fine. It's just visually, I still can't quite see Reed yet, but we'll get there for sure. I think it's right here that we're going to hear it's clobbering time.
Yeah.
Maybe he says it and then runs down the street.
I'm wondering if this is the Mole Man's big monstro.
Ooh.
Because I have a feeling that because we pretty much know they're established at this point.
Yeah.
That we'll see, Galactus will not be the first enemy in this.
Yeah.
And this looks like the city street. It's daytime.
Uh-huh.
It's not quite as foreboding as, some darker villains. I think he's running straight up just to punch that giant
monster.
That giant monster coming out of the underground.
And what I do love I love the Foley work because he sounds like a big, giant, heavy rock person barreling down the street. And if you get hit by him, you are going to get knocked, 4 city blocks or something. So I love the sense of weight and momentum here.
He is different than Hulk.
Yes,
they have very different profiles,
uh-huh.
and it's good that maybe he's not 9 feet tall or something. That's the Hulk's thing. He's a denser guy.
I did see a couple complaints because with how small he is, somebody tried to Photoshop the Hulk next to him, and they're like, "Oh, he's too small to fight the Hulk now." I'm like, "No, he's always been smaller than the Hulk, and he doesn't really beat the Hulk all that much because he's not as strong." But that's what
But I want to see it.
But I want to see it. Yeah. Oh my gosh, can you imagine one day if we get the Thing versus the Hulk in movies? Ooh, who do we think John Malkovich is playing?
So, of course, everyone's first thing they went to is Red Ghost.
Yeah, I don't see it. I don't think Red Ghost had a beard.
No, I mean, but they could change stuff.
Yeah.
I think if this was Mole Man, like some people said, they would have gone harder Mole Man with goggles and shorter, bigger nose, that kind of thing. I heard someone say it's the other guy who works for Galactus or for Doom. He's Doom has a guy who looks just like that.
Does he?
Yeah.
Yes, Stickman. That's what I think too. No, not Nathaniel Richards, right? Is Reed's father?
Do you think Nathaniel Richards?
That's what I'm thinking. Yeah, Franklin Richards is the son.
But we've seen futuristic Franklin Richards too.
Well, that's true.
That came back from the future. Let's see. Doctor.
Wait, what? The Thing is 5'3", Wolverine is... Oh, you mean in live action? The Thing is 5'3" and Wolverine is 6'2". Has the world gone bonkers? Yeah, I don't know about that. The girl who plays the Invisible Woman looks like she's about to deliver an incredible performance. Oh, yeah, I love Vanessa Kirby. I turned on the TV last night and they had Hobbs and Shaw on like FX or something. And I watched while I did some work, and she's in that. She's great. I like her a lot. But yeah, I think that he's... Yeah, I don't think he's Red Ghost, because then you'd have to put in the Super Apes, and that's a whole other thing,
Don't take the Super Apes away from me.
Yeah, no, I mean, I think that would be. I mean, I would love to have the Super Apes. What's up, Dow? Is that DAO? Yeah, Dow. I like the little emoji there. Yeah, no idea. And again, I don't want to know. I don't want to know who he's playing. I don't want to know how big of a part it is. I like knowing as little as possible, although I'm sure we'll find out before July. I didn't even know he was in this until I saw this trailer.
I remember hearing a long time ago that he was in it, and then I just completely forgot.
What are you looking up?
What the name of the wizard guy is? Not Mole Man, not Red Ghost. What's it? Franklin, Reed, Nathaniel. Well, there's a emissary for Latveria that looks like that.
I don't think he's an evil character like Mole Man. He doesn't look evil. I think he's like, to me, he was like, I've come to deliver a message.
Yeah, I was kind of trying to see like what he's wearing.
Yeah,
and it's hard to tell. Like it'd be if he was just wearing like another Fantastic Four uniform. You're like, oh, okay.
Or like a spacesuit or something. All right, we'll keep going.
Okay, yeah.
And then, of course, Galactus looks great.
Yeah, there's a lot here, too.
What's that dome back over there?
It's the dome from the Ultimate.
Oh, my gosh.
The Maker's going to come out of there.
does Merlin have a role in Marvel? Because I'm getting Wizard vibes. I think so, but
I think Ryan Ariett's Screen Crush mentioned this character that is who looks just like that.
yeah.
But there's also I don't remember if this shot or a different shot, but like there are some key changes in like the buildings, and you can see like a launch pad.
I think it's in the previous shot where it's just the shadow.
Yeah,
you can
yeah.
see like the entire city. Yeah.
But yeah, there's a dome thing, which could actually be there. I don't know. I'm not hyper familiar.
I just could look at this like, oh my gosh, like that's Galactus. They gave him the big purple helmet with the pointy things. Like,
so we had a customer that like is a huge Fantastic Four fan and was so worried about Galactus because they're not going to give him the big helmet and all of that. I'm like, I don't know. I think we're to a point where people will accept that.
yeah.
And you can see here, he's got the weird little visor thing towards the in front. There's no like, oh, well, we changed it because of this or that. This isn't a cloud. This isn't, I know people worried that like Galactus would just be a dude that would just like, be Galactus in human form. It's like, no, this is, it looks like you got the giant Marvel Legends and you just held it up in front of a picture. Like everything about this is comic accurate.
Yeah, and I wasn't worried after seeing that concept footage from Comic-Con or whatever it was last year, where he like looks in the window. I was like, oh my gosh, they're doing it. They're going for it. And then seeing this, like, no, that's actually exactly what he looks like. I mean, from the back. I mean, we got to see the front. Is he going to have the square pupils and everything? I don't know about that.
I feel like you've got this part. You can almost do anything to the front, but the silhouette with those weird things, they come out lower than the ears, the flat top head. But I like all the little techie bits, it's not just flat. It looks like there's
some detail to it and some texture. I just hope that I would love it if they leaned in hard to the Silver Age. And hold on, let me see if I can find it real quick. Is it? This isn't
where he's not wearing pants.
Yeah. There. Where, well, you can't even really see it here, but I would love it if he had the G on his chest and he's not wearing pants. That would be.
Yeah, there's a classic cover where he is just legs out.
Oh yeah, he's free balling almost. All right, so yeah, we'll go back to this, and we're just about done here.
As a family.
And then the hero shot,
What do you think this is? Because this is not a natural shot. It looks like they are appearing on a TV show, like a.
Well, yeah, that's what I think. And somebody posted, I wish it was a Beatles performance, an actual Beatles performance from the 60s, and they're standing on a circular thing with arrows pointing, and it looks just like those arrows. So I do think it's a TV show.
Yeah.
Maybe like a late night talk show, like Johnny Carson, or who was the big one before Johnny Carson? I don't remember, but I think they're on TV. Because they're big, stars. The public loves them. So I think that's what this is. I don't think they're about to go on some mission. They're like, hey, we're going to do an interview or something.
Yeah. I imagine this is maybe in the movie, maybe the first time you see them.
Oh, it could be.
I
do wonder why Reed's costume doesn't have the white up here.
He and just everybody didn't like how it looked.
Maybe.
Johnny has more white on his sleeves. Johnny and Ben have the same costume, and Reed and Sue have the same costume.
Well, no, Sue has the white.
She has a little bit of that, but she doesn't have the white that runs down the arm that the other two do.
Yeah, hers looks just like the
hers
original
has
costume.
All of the correct bits to make the costume.
Like that looks great. Those costumes look great. They're not overly designed, but they're not trying to. They don't look like they really have like a lot of like muscle padding and everything. Like they just look.
And they don't have unnecessary lines.
Right.
These are not like the Eternals costumes, or
Yeah.
even Wolverine and Deadpool.
Uh-huh.
Wolverine was like, there's still a lot of lines on this. This
Yeah.
is, it looks cloth.
Yeah. Brenda says, what do you think of the soundtrack? Love it.
Yeah, the soundtrack is phenomenal.
Love it so much. And then A-Dub, I like how they're explaining how they got to where they are as telling the original story that we've been introduced to 1,000 times. Yeah, I think we're not going to have to sit through origin story.
Yeah, I don't think real time it's going to be like, we're going to get in that rocket and we're going to do this. I think it's going to be, flashback, or, maybe Reed's telling the story of how they got it on a thing or whatever. But I don't think we're going to like shot by shot do, okay, we're doing the whole origin again.
Because it would be too much to say, oh, we have to meet them. They have to go into space. I mean, we are going to see the rocket flight and everything, and then they get their powers, and then they have to figure out how to use them, and then they have to do some stuff that makes the public love them, and then they have to get the Baxter. But no, they're clearly already established.
I'm so glad we're past that, it seems, in superhero movies. Because, I mean, inevitably every first movie is like, okay, well, we got to have them before, and then during and after, and
Brendan on TikTok says, do you think Doctor Doom will have a same simplistic and comic accurate armor or more complex? I'm not convinced that he'll be in this. You think he will be, right?
I think
maybe like post-credits or something?
Post-credits, I think it would be insane to not have Doctor Doom's first appearance in the Fantastic Four.
It would be weird.
And it seems like they're going very classic. At least I think Reed will mention him as his roommate from college or something like that, that kind of disappeared for a while. I don't think he will play a big part, but I do feel like you will see him in some regard. And, we had that concept art that leaked before Black Panther 2.
Yeah.
And apparently he was supposed to be, they were supposed to mention like Latveria and stuff in Black Panther 2, where he had like a big fur like collar and stuff. And I thought it looked really cool.
Sergio, no Silver Surfer? Yeah. We're not... Sorry, Liefeld, you're not getting your Silver Surfer in this trailer.
Yeah, let us have some surprises.
Fantastic Four and Superman both the same month, and Jurassic Park, whatever, the new Jurassic World, that trailer dropped today. That's going to be in July too. They just showed the new Jurassic Park. Oh my gosh, we're just going to spend all of July in the theater.
Yeah, because I'm definitely seeing these more than once.
Oh, for sure. About Doctor Doom, it would be weird to introduce him not in a Fantastic Four movie, but you have to think, they only just announced Robert Downey Jr., 8 months ago, something like that. They were filming before. Well, I don't know.
I mean, he could have been cast a long time ago.
Could have been, I guess.
I think it's too important to the touchstones of the Fantastic Four.
Yeah.
To not have him in this, especially since we know we are getting him. It's not like, oh, surprise, Doctor Doom's in the universe. It's like, no, we know he's there. So it feels weird to be like, we know he's there, but he's not in this.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think we're going to get him in some regard, whether after the credits or as a cameo or something.
Something, yeah. So yeah, that's it. We went through. It took us like 45 minutes to go through a 1.5 minute trailer, but yeah, that's what we wanted to do today, was just talk about that trailer because it's worth talking about. We're so excited. I can't even tell you how many times I've watched this since yesterday.
Yeah.
I am over the moon excited for it. I have high hopes. I'm not worried about anything. It's not like, oh, that doesn't look great, or I hope they fix that or whatever. No, this is perfect. Real
quick, since we do talk about comics, what is your best Fantastic Four like comic recommendations? If people see this, they're jazzing, they want to check out some Fantastic Four, what do you think is like, you've got to read X Fantastic Four?
Well, I every time I get asked for recommendations, I don't like to give too many, because then it's like, oh, you could read this, and this, and people might think, oh, that's too much, forget it. I like to just like recommend me like one or two things, and I would recommend. I shouldn't be showing this link. We're at a comic book store. I'm just trying to get to the picture, but yeah. We're not on. Fantastic Four Full Circle, written and drawn by Alex Ross, but it's a little bit different of an art style than what he's used to. This book is awesome. It's an original graphic novel. It's bigger than a regular standard comic, but it's not a big trade paperback. It's its own unique story. You can sit down and read it in one sitting. The artwork is gorgeous. You get a handful of different Fantastic Four villains in this. It goes a bunch of different directions. And this is great. Like, I highly recommend this to anybody who wants to read an awesome Fantastic Four story. Yeah,
it's a really good kind of self-contained, gives you everything that the Fantastic Four are about in one. You get a bunch of villains, all of that. I mean, if I had to recommend one, the one that I've read like the most would be the Jonathan Hickman.
Yep.
I mean, really long run on that. I don't remember what it's like, if it has a title, but he introduced the Future Foundation, which is, which was mentioned multiple times in the leading up to the trailer and stuff.
Oh, that was weird. And I think I accidentally clicked. There we go. Oh, yeah. I love Hickman's run. The Council of Reeds.
That was what I was going to ask. Do you think, I mean, this is far-flung thing that one day we'll get the Council of Reeds with John Krasinski and
I don't know, maybe.
I think it'd be really cool because they did like the Council of Kings and stuff, but yeah, that just shows that, like, if you read this, you realize how big the Fantastic Four story can get. I love that.
I think it's in the first issue of his run, Reed like laid down an edict of solve everything or something. Wasn't that what it was? Fix everything or something like that. Like, it's so good. And then I also like John Byrne's run and Mark Waid's run. Mark Waid's run had a lot of good Mike Marengo art. Rest in peace. So all kinds of and the Jack Kirby Stan Lee stuff from the 60s, like they did the first 100 issues of Fantastic Four, and to me that's some good stuff. And you get a lot of you first appearance of Namor, first appearance of Black Panther and Galactus and Silver Surfer and the Inhumans. Like, that's where the Marvel Universe was born from, was out of Fantastic Four. So it's good to see all of that stuff come back, or how it all started.
Yeah.
And I think, other than Spider-Man, other than Amazing Spider-Man, that run of Fantastic Four is the best Silver Age Marvel stuff you can read. So that's all good stuff.
I really hope, we get to the point where we have Fantastic Four meeting She-Hulk.
Oh, yeah.
Black Panther. Get some of those classic stuff in there, because the Fantastic Four are kind of they're the family, but Spider-Man is kind of an unofficial member. And Human Torch, Johnny, and Peter Parker are like best friends that they meet on the top of the Statue of Liberty and stuff. And I hope we get all that.
Ada, I wonder who's going to be the Thing's blind girlfriend, Alicia Masters. We could get that. Give us some Puppet Master.
What's her name from Orange is the New Black and Russian Doll?
I know who you're talking about.
She's cast in Fantastic Four, and we don't know who she is.
Oh, really?
And there's the possibility that she's Alicia.
Oh, Natasha Lyonne, right?
Natasha Lyonne, yeah.
As an anthology lover, Ryan North's run has been a pillar on my plate. Yeah. We shouldn't not mention Ryan North's run that's going on right now is phenomenal, and I love that it's less superhero-y, more science adventures.
Yeah.
You could almost, especially in the first 15 or so issues, you really could just read any one of those out of order because they're almost one and done. I love that.
There's so many good, like, it's kind of that, like, come into a town, something seems a little weird here, and it just kind of spirals out of control and all of that. Yeah. So and there's a huge focus on family in that run too, which I think makes it great. And then Ada, what's your thoughts on the new Spider-Man TV show? I don't know if I love it, but I really, really like it. Yeah, I mean, they went a completely different direction with his origin, with the supporting cast, all of that, which I am all for, because we do have other versions that have familiar characters in it that they can take a really wild spin with this one. Like the Spider, like Doctor Strange was fighting like a weird, like venomized, like I don't know if it was like a symbiote, but it had like fur.
Yeah,
on
this
its
and the
back.
spider came out of a portal. It wasn't
Yeah.
part of a science experiment. Uncle Ben died before
Yeah,
he got the powers. I mean, but I think it all still works. I like it as a version of Spider-Man. I wouldn't want it to be maybe the main Spider-Man, but I liked it. Oh, we've got a main Spider-Man over here, and then there's this other different version. I like it, and the animation. I really do like the animation.
Yeah.
How it looks like a comic book come to life. Leonardo Romero was sort of did a lot of the art designs for it. That's why it looks the way it does. It looks like his artwork. The way they make some of it look like comic book panels, especially when they put two things side by side. And there was that one. There was two panels, but then it opened up to a third.
Yeah,
and, like I like it. I'm into it. I'm going to go home and watch the new one.
Nico Minoru is in
Nico
it. Minoru is in there, and is Pearl a character that we've seen before?
She is a character. She is a character, and I want to say she's either a hero or a villain, but I do not remember who she is in the comics. But she does exist in the comics.
But as soon as Paul takes a step onto that screen, I'm turning it off.
I'm going to smash my TV as soon as he pops up.
I'm going to return it and say this TV's broken because Paul was on it.
Oh, and you know what? Give me a same style animated series with Doctor Strange.
Yeah,
he looked great. I love the way he was using his magic stuff. Like make an offshoot of this with Doctor Strange. Like that whole beginning sequence was awesome.
I think we're supposed to be getting some other characters in this too, right?
Well, Daredevil's in it.
Daredevil, and I think Captain America is supposed to be in it as well.
And Charlie Cox is voicing Daredevil,
cool.
which is really cool.
Yeah.
All right. Well, that is it. This was a good show. Sorry we went so long on going through a 90-second trailer, but like I said, it's so cool. We wanted to talk about it, every little bit, everything that we thought about it. So, guys, thanks for hanging out with us. We will be doing this show again 2 weeks from tonight, which is February 19th. We do these every other Wednesday. And I don't know what we'll talk about next. We'll have to see what happens between now and then. But, if you have any thoughts about this trailer or what you want to see on the next show, whatever you want, leave us a comment on this or any of our videos, and we will go find that as well.
Make sure and like and subscribe our channels and everything so you can be updated when new stuff comes out. We always like to plug that we do the shows, but also Jason and Megan do a show where they show some of the new stuff that you can actually buy from our store. That's a new thing that's now going out to multiple sources like YouTube and Instagram and all of that. So don't miss out on that show, plus all of our other shows that we do multiple times a week.
Yep. Yeah, lots of good stuff. We're on all the socials, YouTube. We're on the U-Talks and the Facegrams and the Instabooks and
old man.
No, but yeah, YouTube, Instagram, TikTok, Facebook. I think those are the big four.
Yeah.
Those are the fantastic four of social media for
I
us
don't know
anyway.
if they're that fantastic, but there's 4 of them.
Yeah. So anyway, guys, we're out of here. Thank you so much for hanging out with us. And we will see you. Well, we won't see you, but you'll see us on Friday. And then we'll be here again for the live show in a couple weeks. See you later.
Bye.